Welcome in, Huntsville. Another wonderful good morning to you. Thanks for waking up with us. What do you love about Huntsville? What makes this a great place to be?
Everyone here is very genuine and very kind and friendly. You never hesitate to speak up and say hello or good morning or just acknowledge the person walking by.
The thing that I love most about Huntsville, I love the peace that Huntsville brings. I love the peace that it gives me.
I feel accepted and part of the town and like I belong here.
Huntsville is where my lovely wife lived when I met her, so I moved here. So I'm pretty thankful for her.
For you in Huntsville, Texas.
Welcome in on International Retainer Day here on Hello Huntsville. Thanks for joining us on a Wednesday. Welcome in.
Good morning, Rob.
Good morning, Huntsville. Good morning, Kaye. Man, we have so much fun off camera. Can we please start the show whenever we do our shenanigans off camera? Can we do that?
Why not?
Let's do it.
I think we should.
$10 a month membership. You can sign up today. Also, got our good friend, a new friend here today, Mr. Rick Lexus joining us.
That's
Rick,
right.
Welcome in.
Rick Lexus.
Rick Lexus is his new name, and just kidding. It's Rick and Kaye Boehning of Tomorrow's Promise Montessori Schools. We all got our eyes done this morning, and so we're having to wear shades today just because, I'm not a shady person, though. I got to take these off. I'm not a shady person.
I feel better now.
Yeah, I do.
You can see.
These glasses are polarized, by the way. For those of you on the audio, you're like, what are you guys talking about? Because you may be going back listening later. Kaye and Rick have brought these really awesome, these aviator glasses. Mm-hmm. These are the top dog. I'm going to ask Greg Smith next time he's on from Sam Houston. He's a pilot. If these are the real deal.
I don't think so.
Yeah, Rick already says they're not the real deal. Happy Wednesday. Welcome in. Thanks for joining us on another edition of Good Morning Huntsville. As always, thank you for waking up with us and having that attitude of gratitude today. You know, some days it may be tough to get out of bed, but you just got to keep on fighting a good fight and know that better days are ahead no matter the circumstance. I always say you're not a victim of the circumstance, and so just faith through it. Fight through it, faith through it. That's what it's going to take today. But, hey, we love you. We appreciate you joining us. As always, we are broadcasting downtown in our studio, brought to you by Elliott's Jewelers, online at elliotsjewelers.com. We appreciate Elliott and all that he does, and also Paul Oley of The Gallery for all of your custom photography, framing, and more. Please visit Paul Oley. Let him know I sent you, by the way. Say, hey, I heard about it from Rob on Hello Huntsville and Good Morning Huntsville. Let him know, and let's support local business here in Huntsville, Texas.
Every morning I wake up and say, thank you, Lord.
That's what you got to do.
And it is a matter of mindset.
It is.
I mean, all last week we had 11 people out each day. 11 out of 49.
That's big.
Instead of saying I had problems, I had opportunities for creative thinking.
Love
all
that.
last week. It was
And
wonderful opportunities.
I've got the lumps to prove it.
There you go. Hey, I mentioned, of course, Paul Oley and Elliot Herzlich, but I always save the best for the last, and we couldn't do this show every single day without our Foundation 5 sponsors, and on Wednesdays, always a blessing to have Kaye and Rick Boehning. So thank you for all that you do, and tomorrow's promise, everything going well. Construction photos, I've seen some updates. How are things going at the Academy?
I believe we're going to have a building, hopefully by the end of this week.
Really?
Yeah.
Yes.
Foundation already laid? Getting there?
It's a modular building.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
So, modular building. Couldn't afford to build, so.
We're,
Yeah.
I'm poor folk.
Well, you're generous at heart, though.
It's really a wonderful story. I was looking at property, not that property, but I was looking at property. We had a contract on it, and I decided to look to see if there was any used buildings for sale. And lo and behold, there was a used 4,000 square foot building for sale. And so I bought the building, and then the land deal fell through. And so I have this building now, and I didn't have any land. And I didn't realize how big it was, and it wouldn't be parked anywhere. But then I turned around a week later, I was in negotiation to buy the property that it's at now, and did not realize it had to be moved by, I think it was August 1st, and I did not realize the process it took to move a building and put it down. And here we are almost a year later putting it here.
But it's coming. Where was the building? Where was this building being stored again? Where was it at after you
It's
bought
being stored right now in New Waverly.
it? Okay.
So just sitting in a parking lot, basically.
I was wondering, I drove by y'all's house. We're neighbors.
We are.
And literally, you guys can walk across the lawn to get to my house. And I thank y'all so much for coming by and for the gifts for baby Caden. We appreciate that so much. But y'all just walked right across the grass, and there you are. I did not see any modular buildings there around your house or in the backyard.
No, it's not there. We have a lot of cars around our house, but that's all.
I've been thinking about like a storage building, to put tools in and things. Is Elkins pretty strict about buildings? Because, I'm seeing people build buildings, and according to the deeds, like you're supposed to have the same shingles, but I've seen 4 or 5 that have been built that don't have the same shingles. So we need to know who is the enforcer of this.
Well, it may be one of those cases of who you know.
Who you know. I know Rick Boehning, but Rick Boehning doesn't have any pull.
I have no pull with the ELRC.
The thing that it always behooves me, is that the right word? Behooves? I always get words. Is it behooves?
For what?
Like whenever you say something behooves you, am I using the right word? Have you ever heard that before?
Well, it doesn't behoove me if you use the right word.
I have no idea. But it's always funny whenever folks move into neighborhoods and then they complain about the HOA. I'm like, did you not read the deed restrictions when you bought your house?
A lot of people don't.
You read the deed restrictions. There was a guy in the town I grew up in, and, he likes to go on social media platforms and blast everything. Keyboard warrior. This guy's got like calluses and charcoal marks on his fingers from being on the keyboard all the time. Literally smoke coming off. He doesn't have to use a lighter to light fireworks on the 4th of July. He just goes on the keyboard for 10 seconds and boom, there's your spark to light the fire. I've seen it firsthand. But this guy moved into a neighborhood, started complaining because he put a swimming pool in his backyard and the HOA made him take it down. He goes, we've already spent thousands of dollars on the concrete base and all this, and one of the neighbors turned us in, and I'm like, well, you moved into a neighborhood. You didn't read the deed restrictions. That's your fault, buddy. So don't move into the neighborhood if you don't like the restrictions. Simple as that.
A few years ago, we were looking at buying a house in a different neighborhood, and the deed restrictions of it were very racist.
Yes. They were written in the 1920s.
They hadn't been updated.
Wow. Yeah, that's, when we were moving in, so when I had my IT company in Georgetown, the local Church of Christ had owned the building that we moved our computer store into. Well, before all of this happened, the church had sold the building to the county, and then the county, there were some things that were going on, but there was things in the deed restrictions and I'm not knocking because I grew up Church of Christ, so I'm not knocking. You don't. I want to say that first and foremost. But this particular sect of the Church of Christ, they said, hey, we don't. They just didn't believe in having musical instruments. It was all a cappella, that was cool. But the deed restriction says that like whoever's in here, no musical instruments are to be brought on this property. Well, part of the reason for that building is they did drills outside, and they brought whistles and musical instruments for these drills that they did. So they had to, before they bought the property, they had to. It wasn't like, I never realized that you could sue someone in a good way, but it was like a lawsuit to change the deed restrictions to take that provision out before they bought the building. So it's just crazy how things, work out to have to make that happen.
My grandmother's house, we were moving it from the farm into a little bitty town of, it's Carmen, got 300 people in it maybe.
Yeah, maybe on a good day.
And it had that same deed restriction on it, even for just a house.
Was there any deed restrictions on the property that you guys got for the academy that said no Rick Lexuses allowed on the property?
No, we haven't. As far as I know, there's not an HOA there.
There's not an HOA on the property.
I think there was a deed restriction for a while that there'd be no electricity there.
Yeah.
But all that's done now.
Yeah. It's
man, that directional drilling, that is a good business to get into.
Isn't it?
A cousin of mine does that business, and they use GPSs now, and literally, I mean, within an inch, you can say, hey, I want a pipe to come out right in front of that door over there, and you can start here, and they use GPS and tracking and all this stuff, and they can literally drill underground and pop that pipe up within an inch of where you want it to be. Isn't that unbelievable?
I watched them drill under the street. It was amazing.
So we're going to start tomorrow's Promise Drilling Company. We'll drill tomorrow, we promise.
I thought that was our cab company.
It was, but we're trying to, like Jason Thompson of Guardian Defense, we're trying to come up with our own. Hey, we want to welcome you in again. Thanks for joining us. There's this weird echo. Do you guys hear that, or is it just me? Yeah. I don't know if it's just my head. Well, I've got my headset cranked up. Want to welcome you in. Thanks for joining us here on another edition of Good Morning Huntsville. We've got a great show today. I know that we've been rambling on here for the first 15 minutes, but that's okay. That's what we do because we want to have a little bit of fun and get started. But we are very excited. Tom Mangus joining us today. He is the executive chef at Café Texan. And so we're gonna be inspired today and learn some great things.
Yeah, I thought the echo was just rattling around the emptiness in my brain.
He brought us coffee.
He did. So we got coffee.
Whatever these are.
I have tea.
You've got tea. We're gonna ask Tom earlier what he has brought because, man, when Tom he showed up before at the end of a show and brought us some food. Anytime Tom shows up, you know that you better come hungry. Because it does not get any better than Tom here in Huntsville, Texas with his cooking. So we're going to talk to him today. I did want to mention, by the way, friends, let us know that you're out there. Let us know what you're thankful for today. And check this out. Look what we're bringing back here today, as we have not brought it this week. Here is the surprise right now on your screen as we will pop. Well, I say I'm going to pop this up. Here's this week's keyword. In honor of the Café Texan, keyword this week now, Wednesday through Friday at 8 a.m., it is the word Texan. So the keyword this week, Texan, you can text that keyword along with your name to 936-339-0139. Enter to win. We are giving away today $25 gift card to Café Texan. And I've also got some passes to the Color Bar Tanning Salon.
Oh.
So I need a little bit of that, man. I put on shorts after being in Fargo for 8 months. Yikes.
I got this farmer's team going on here.
Wait, hold on, Rick. Let's let me switch back over here. What do you got going on, Rick? Let's see this real quick. Man, look at that.
That's that farmer's team.
You have that line on the farmer, but you have that line right there back in the day when you wore the really tight white T-shirts and you rolled your pack of cigarettes up in the sleeve. Yeah. I can kind of see that, too.
I still do that.
Yeah.
You wouldn't be walking if you smoked.
Man, my dad was a hoss growing up, and I remember I have a picture of my dad, and he did that. He would always wear really tight, muscular white shirts, and he'd have a pack of cigarettes rolled up in his sleeve. And he did it so much that the sleeves started getting holes in them. So, I mean, you talk about...
I'm not that coordinated.
Yeah.
Well, he has asthma. He wouldn't be breathing.
Well, friends, again, let us know you're out there. We're excited about this show today. We'll step aside. We'll take a break. When we come back, Tom joins us. Stay with us. We've got a lot more to come. This is your show this morning, brought to you by Tomorrow's Promise. Good Morning Huntsville. We'll be right back after this. Good morning, Huntsville. Welcome back in. Thanks for joining us on another episode as you're waking up with us on a Wednesday. Let us know what you're thankful for today, and we'll get to those comments as we go on. But excited here today. We've been waiting for a while to have our good friend Tom Mangus joining us. And Kaye, you made that connection, so thanks for setting up Tom and getting him here today.
He has wonderful cooking.
I just lost you, Kaye. Hold on one
You
second.
turned me off.
There we go.
There.
We go. That was where the echo was coming. Kaye said that Tom has
Wonderful cooking.
wonderful cooking. So
Thank you.
And since
I
I
appreciate
don't
that.
cook, that's how often I can get Rick to take me.
absolutely. So Rick's over there saying, so I don't know what Rick's over there chiming in about something. What was that, Rick?
That's not the only reason we like Tom.
Yeah.
It's not just for the food.
It's
That's
not
good.
just for the food.
Well, I appreciate that.
He's a sweet person, too.
Our
I
show-
enjoy talking to him every time we go in.
Well, our show's every single Wednesday brought to you by our great friends at Tomorrow's Promise Montessori Schools. We'll talk more with Kaye here in just a few moments with some updates again and how things are going. But want to welcome in Tom Mangus. He is the executive chef of Café Texan. Man, good to have you. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you. It's my pleasure.
Tom, you came by I guess about a month ago, maybe a month and a half ago, and you're our square neighbor, just right off the little square here. What did you bring us? I forgot. It was
Those were bacon cheddar chive scones.
oh, those scones.
Yeah.
Yes, those were so good, man. And I can't. What's crazy is I've never had a scone before, never have. And you made those, and they were absolutely phenomenal.
Thank you. We try to make a little pastry every morning. We haven't been open when school's back in yet, so we don't know what the capabilities are, how much of a need there'll be for that. But we do bake fresh pastry every morning in case someone wants to come by and have coffee. We have everything Starbucks can do, and then some. All the coffee, none of the agenda, right? So
I like that. That's a new T-shirt idea, right? By the way, because we're
That's
always
right.
coming up with T-shirt, all the coffee, not the
None
agenda.
of the agenda,
Yeah,
right,
there you go,
right.
man.
So-
Whenever you come in, do you have a tablet you put in people's face and say tip?
No,
Okay.
there's none of that.
I just wanted to make sure.
And actually, it's so off-putting. So, and it's epidemic everywhere, though. I think places are trying to offset paying
Yeah.
by, increasing that tip. But
And you can't fault them for it. But I like to go to a place, you got to earn your tip. And at the Café Texan, you guys absolutely earn the tips there. Give us a little bit of rundown. We're going to talk about Café Texan, but wanted to give our audience a chance just to get to know you as the executive chef and let us know a little bit about your journey, your history. How did you get to Huntsville? Just let us
Right.
know about Tom before we talk Café Texan.
okay, great. So I'm from a little town called Crystal City, Missouri, south of St. Louis. And my dad was a dentist there for 42 years, very grounded. My mom was the opposite, moved quite a bit. So I've lived so many places. I was in the gaming industry for a very long time, worked for 9 different casinos, hotels, Marriotts, Embassy Suites type, larger properties. But I always knew I wanted to be a chef. My dad wanted me to be a dentist. That was never a match there. But I did go to college for about a year, failed miserably at being a biology chemistry double major. It wasn't that I couldn't do the work. I didn't want to do the work. It was just not for me. And so I went through school, and I ended up getting a degree in accounting, just an associate's degree. I thought that might be handy, and it has come in amazingly handy for being a chef, because cooking is a small part of it. Running budgets in businesses and managing people is really what it's about.
Yeah, you can never go wrong with having some business classes under your belt.
Right. It has come in very handy. And so I ended up going to the Culinary Institute of America in Hyde Park, New York. I was very blessed to get to go there. Best money I've ever spent. It doesn't really make you a chef by any means, but it gets you the background, gets your foot in the door. So I was able to start my career with Harrah's Casinos. That was back when they were the big dogs in gaming. They've all kind of eaten each other up now, and they're all just a couple big conglomerates. But a lot of great training classes. Harrah's had a mandate you had to train. It was like 150 to 200 hours a year, and it was just a ton. And I hated it at the time. And now I look back and I realize how blessed I was to get all that free training. I mean, they paid me to learn. So I was able to take that with me everywhere I went. And anyway, I went from casino to casino. I got promoted, transferred, worked for Marriott Hotels. Took me to the East Coast. Was in Connecticut for a while. Didn't care for that. Came back to the Midwest for a small casino company. Stayed there for about 5 years. Opened a small nightclub. Had a lot of fun with that. And just kind of went back and forth. I've worked for 3 Native American tribes. And oddly enough, I met one of my food vendors. His name's Damon Coburn. He's a local here at Huntsville. And he knows Vance Howard, who built the Café Texan, and they were looking for a chef. And he reached out to me, and honestly, when he said, there's a cafe in Huntsville and you want to come around, I was like, no, I'm good. And so I said, well, tell me more about it. And he said, well, he's almost building a place just for you to run. And what a blessing that it came around, and I couldn't ask for a nicer person than Vance to work for. And just, it's been a blessing all the way through. So he brought me on early. The project took 3 years, and it came to fruition this last May, and it's been kind of go since we opened, and we're still figuring the business out. But so I've just been around these large businesses where I had staffs of 150, 200, and then this last place before here, I actually traveled the country for about a year because Vance brought me on, but the cafe wasn't ready. So other than planning and writing menus and changing it 100 times, trying to figure out what the town likes, and then I still had to change it again once we opened. But it's a living document, our menu. It's not just set. So anyway, I was able to go from Anchorage, Alaska, down to the Keys of Florida, places that had a need for a chef, and I definitely learned more in the last year and a half than the 10 years before. So it all just was a blessing. One thing led itself to another. And
yeah, well, here you are, man, and it's great to have you. Firsthand. I mean, you've been here now, and you've gotten to know Vance Howard, and Vance, one of those guys that just, man, he'll embrace you just like this whole community does. And what have you experienced as far as that, coming here and just getting established? I know that there's growing pains and all those. We always talk about the positive on this show, and
sure,
there's so many great things that Huntsville offers, and the Café Texan now with this revamp and how it is. It's a beautiful place, wonderful food. AKA Tom Mangus is the executive chef. So thank you for the great food. But just what has that embracement been like for you as you've came into this community and been able to experience it firsthand?
Well, it's been great. I mean, there are so many nice people to come in and I get to speak with. It's my favorite when things are running on all cylinders. I'm able to come out in the dining room, bus tables, ask folks how things were. And, if I have the time, I make a little dessert here and there. I like to buy a little dessert. Thanks for coming in. It's whatever I can do to give back, because everyone wants to be recognized when they go out. Everyone wants to be able to go in and say they know my order, and you get the regulars to start coming back. So it's all about the brand recognition and then your recognition of them. And I've had a lot of great feedback. I mean, of course, you get it's mixed in. There's always some naysayers, but that's what motivates you to do better. And I appreciate the good with the bad. I'll take all the feedback I can get because that's how you grow. But it's funny that people ask you a lot of things, but in this town, the one thing I've noticed when it always comes down to the last question is, well, where are you from? And everybody kind of stops and goes, where exactly
They're waiting
are
for you
from?
to say California.
Yeah, right. And that's funny. As long as you're not coming in from the West Coast. So I know that's not the case. So I'm a Midwest guy, and I think a lot of things are the same. The town I'm from is very small, and I'm a small town guy. I actually was the chef for the campus here for Sam Houston State through Aramark for about a year.
Oh, awesome.
So I lived here for a year before, so I liked Huntsville back then. I've never felt safer in a town than I feel in Huntsville. So
well, let's talk a little Café Texan. Mm-hmm. It's amazing to see the transformation, and we're always grateful for those that have came before us, the family and the folks that started that, just her tremendous legacy over the years. And then Vance saw a need and said, that COVID hit so many people so hard, and it was tough on so many businesses. And the Café Texan could have been another victim of that. But Vance saw this and said, hey, let's turn this into something great. And I don't think a lot of folks may realize this. And so I wanted to make it known today that the Café Texan is ran as a nonprofit.
That's right.
And anything above and beyond the operating costs go back to local area nonprofits. And so I wanted to make that known. This is really a labor of love project, but this isn't just, hey, a cafe where you come in and you leave. You come in, you stay. There's a museum aspect to it where Vance has collected stuff literally from all over the world.
It's amazing.
I heard at Rotary when he gave his presentation, we'll have to have him on to talk more about it, but I think Napoleon's pistols, he couldn't bring them back because the French government was giving him a hard time.
That's
and
right.
Said something about the gunpowder was the last thing they had to get out of there. And so he's like, I'm going to sue the French government if we can't get these. He's joking around, of course, but there's so many artifacts on the museum side as well, but on the cafe side, this is a history and part of the culture and the heritage of Huntsville that continues on. What has that been like for you, just being able to see this Café Texan continue and not fall to the ashes of something terrible like COVID?
Right. I mean, I don't know anyone else that could have taken over the cafe and brought it back to life other than Vance, because it was so expensive. And everything had to be redone. Everything, because once you close, then you fall victim to the new zoning and the coding and things like that. And so like the building was never HVAC or sprinkled on the top floor or in the basement. And all those things are requirements now, and you have to do it. So Vance was able to bring everything up to, the most current codes, and from digging up the street to new power to everything, huge project. And that's why people, it took so long, but they have no idea just how much went into it. The building had to be taken down to the studs, and the floors had to be leveled out. I mean, the floors were like rolling wood floors, and it was there was old plaster and lath in there. I mean, everything had to be abated. There was a little bit of asbestos, not very, very little, but all those things had to be abated and gotten out, and everything's very expensive nowadays to do that with. But Vance he didn't spare any expense. He did it with an interior designer and plus his input, and he's so funny because he'd be like, I don't want to understand the restaurant business. I want you to handle that part. But then you go, man, I found the perfect silverware. I love the silverware. So I'm like, awesome. It's fun to have him come in and, pick and choose. And he's a great person to work with. So
You've been involved and, gotten to know Vance, and you talked about that connection earlier, and it's so neat. That's why I'm so big on always saying you never know who you're going to cross paths with.
Right.
And even if you're having a down day, it's tough. And, you have people that you're close to, and it's good to air things out with those that you're close to in your circle because you can't keep some things boiled up in you. But there's other times, too, of course, to where, if you're meeting a complete stranger, I think we need to try to be the same all the time, no matter what. But you know what I'm saying? Whenever we're around our circle of influence, sometimes it's good to just chat with them. But what I'm getting at is you come across folks that you've never met before, and when you just have that attitude of just expectancy, not just for you, but really to know, I may meet somebody today that's going to help me utilize my talents to bless others. And that's what happened with you. You came in, you obviously weren't sour, because if not, you wouldn't be here. Somebody saw the joy that you had in your heart and the passion for what you do, and now you're the executive chef. And let's just be honest, you're pretty much running the Café Texan when it comes down to it. Talk a little bit about just more of that attitude and how that kind of sets you up for success.
Well, personally, and this speaks to like the youth today, and we're really trying to bring them in and let them know, it's not about you, and there's a selfishness that happens in today's society, like you're saying, and it's about being the selflessness to be able to be a servant to your community, right? Whether you're getting paid for it or not, you have to have a certain amount of empathy for guests, and I always impart that into my cooks. People trust you implicitly when they dine out. They trust you to be clean. They trust you to be wholesome with the food. They're trusting you to take care of them. And so, I don't put up with joking about the food. None of that's ever funny. So we run a very clean business. We enjoy the opportunity to serve the town of Huntsville. Yes, it's a small community, but we have people all the time. I just had people in from Canada. We've got, guests from England were in last week. It's great that they're stopping by. I don't know if they heard about the museum or if they had friends and family, but I always take the opportunity if I can to meet them and thank them for their business. But I've always tried to be a positive person. Some of my employees may be shaking their head right now.
Mine too.
I am a little bit of a wry person. I do hug with sarcasm. As a chef, I found that I came up with chefs that would throw things at your head and not miss. So, and they were just so abusive. But we've come full circle to having to beg people to show up and thank them for doing the minimum, and I don't do that. I thank my team every day. I always try to let them know how important they are to me, but everybody has to do their part. And
it's really hard to say thank you for showing up 5 minutes late.
Yeah, the minimum. The minimum. So, and we lose people here and there, and, we overhired when we started because you have to feel out the best team, and that's what we did. That's where we're at now. We've kind of whittled it down to where everything's running very smoothly. And now a new hurdle has been put in front of me, and Vance didn't ask. He said, when are you going to be able to be open for dinner? So that's been a big question. Everybody's like, when is dinner? When is dinner? So we are going to do that in the near future as well. So, but that'll take a little more hiring, a little more logistic planning because the kitchen is very small.
Okay, Tom has given me a whole new outlook on chefs because people like Gordon Ramsay ruin the public's view of chefs, because I think of, like, when I thought of a chef, I thought, man, is this really how it is? Like, people just going ballistic and all that. And then
Yeah.
Tom comes in as this kind, gentle soul that I know you're very serious about what you do, but you put off this vibe that just says, you know what, I'm going to embrace you and I'm going to listen to you. And I think one of the greatest things, especially in this community, word travels so fast in Huntsville. And I love what you said earlier about always wanting to find ways to get better and also to be adaptive to the needs of the community. You have an idea about, hey, we're going to come in and do this, this, and this, but then you hear feedback from the community, and it's just like you said, that menu is kind of ever living. It can change.
Right, for sure. One of the boutique hotels I went to work for in the last year was in Nashville. Beautiful property. They had 4 chefs quit the same day, so I covered for 4 chefs for about 3 months. It'd like to kill me, but the chef that was in there was one of these that he doesn't put salt and pepper on the table. His food's made to be eaten, not seasoned. And this is the menu, and he's won this award or that. And I'm like, that's all fine and good, but there's no one here. There's no one here to eat your food. At the end of the day, you're failing. So even though your ego is phenomenal, your food sucks. So it's all about the food. And, in this town, it's the things that we try to impart where, yes, our prices are just a pinch over some of the others. Some folks think they're way too high. I totally disagree. For wholesome ingredients and large portions, we don't ever do little add-ons and nickel and dimes. We want you to have a great meal, great experience in a clean environment with good service, and that's what we're doing every day. So.
Well, and plus you can go to the museum.
Right, and you can see the
Yeah,
museum is
I mean-
free, which is cool. Where can you wait for a table and have a museum to look at for free? It's really nice. Mm-hmm.
Tell us a little bit more. I know that's more, we'll have Vance on sometime to really dig into the I can't say words at all today.
That's okay.
Intricate. Intricacies, is that it? Intricacies?
Sure.
I sound like a moron, man, on this show sometimes, but that's okay because we're all about being positive, Tom.
That's right.
But let us know a little bit about the museum side.
Sure.
I mean, one thing that I really like, Vance had mentioned when he spoke at Rotaries, he said, I believe this is the biggest map in the state of Texas that's hanging up in that
Yeah,
place. Let us
that's
know a
right.
little bit more about some of the artifacts.
It's really cool. We had a guest in yesterday that gave us it was probably an hour and a half history lesson about Texas and his family, and was using that map as a guide and showed us, where and what happened. It was actually a really cool experience to be there for that. But it is some Texas history. We have the Laturo brothers display in there, which is really cool. George Bush's boots. And what's funny is Vance always says he's the worst curator. I
See,
can't say words
now
either.
I'm messing you up, man.
I need one more cup of coffee. He's the worst curator in the world because he found a helmet that was 4,000 years old and he had it on his head and he came in the house and they're like, you're not even supposed to touch that. And he's like, you gotta have fun with it. So
Well, it lasted 4,000 years.
it should be. It should go another couple hundred.
Should
So
last a fingerprint or two.
He was at a charity event and sends us a picture. He's wearing George Bush's boots he's dancing in. It's like, how cool is that? And then there they are in the museum. So there's a lot of stuff to see. They've crammed a ton of stuff in a little tiny amount of space. We did have a museum company come and put that all together for us, and actually Vance is so excited about it. They were like, Vance, you got to stop getting stuff for this museum. There's nowhere to put it. It's too much. So he actually has a surplus of things so that we can rotate them in and out so it doesn't
that's
get
cool.
boring, and it'll still be fresh for people that have seen it a few times, and they'll update that periodically.
Thing I really like about the museum and stuff is, and Vance said this, he could have had a museum about hats and just brought in people that wanted to see a thing about hats or wanted to see some boots or something like that. He brought in stuff from all over the world that is
Amazing stuff.
amazing. There are all kinds of things that you can look at and it draws anybody. I mean, some people will just want to come see Napoleon's pistols. Some people might want to come see Abraham Lincoln's flag that he had with him when he was running for president.
He's working on getting Van Gogh's ear right now, by the way. Just kidding. He probably could, though, let's be honest.
Still got some digging to do. Yeah.
And so he is working on trying to bring people off of the freeway into Huntsville to enjoy Huntsville. And that's going to benefit everyone.
And he's from here. He wants the best for Huntsville. And, I mean, he even did the landscaping of all of downtown, not just our corner. And it was kind of weed beds, and he wants it to be right. He wants it to look nice. He wants us to do our part, and we're all very lucky to be on the team there to get to work in that building. I mean, it's a pleasure to come into such a nice place every day and to work for such a good owner that cares. It's really nice. So.
You mentioned earlier, again, Tom Mangus joining us this morning. He is the executive chef at Café Texan. Appreciate his time being here, and Kaye for setting up this interview. And it's just tremendous. I love history. I love learning about a community. And for me, that's something as, relatively a new person to Huntsville. I want to embrace and learn as much about this culture of this community as I possibly can, and that's my wish and desire for anyone that's moving in here, because we don't want the culture to be overran. We want it to be embraced, and I think Huntsville's done a really great job of that, and credit folks like Vance who have kept the legacy of the Café Texan alive. It is more of an upscale dining. That is known, but it is nice to have a very nice place to eat right downtown, and I think that is a boost for all the local businesses around this area as well. I know that I've talked to several folks that have just walked around the square and said, we love having Café Texan here, and we love the choices and all that. You mentioned the museum and all the artifacts. One thing that you talked about earlier, too, was, and Kaye mentioned this, people coming in off the highway, and I think that was one of the reasons is, let's just don't get people driving through 45, because you can blink and you're out of Huntsville. Right. I mean, all of a sudden you're driving from Dallas and it's just trees, a couple little towns. Huntsville's about as big as it gets after Madisonville before you hit Houston. And then all of a sudden you're in Houston, you don't realize it. But now there is this attraction with the museum to bring people in. You mentioned earlier folks from Canada, from England. What have you seen as far as the response from the community, from folks coming in? Well, let me word it like this. Not from the community, but folks from the outside of the community that are coming in. What have you heard from them about it?
Well, we do have a lot of guests that come in that used to come to the Café Texan, whether it was 30 years ago or 20 years ago, and we heard it was open again. We're so happy. We never thought it'd reopen, because it did take a while. And they're just wowed by it. They're like, we don't even recognize it, but in a good way. They're just like, the light coming in, the tables, the decor. They just love all of it. So it's a beautiful room. The feedback has been all positive, from folks that are coming in from out of town and seeing it, and they're saying, we have a place we can come. We don't have to go down to the Woodlands if we want to have something. There's another option. So we love that, and I believe competition breeds business, and it's good for everyone around us. So
I know some folks have chimed in and said, hey, the food's more expensive now, but the reality is food costs are rising. Mm-hmm. When I came back to Huntsville from Fargo, and no offense to my friends in Fargo, but I was like, is this what food normally costs? Because I was so used to paying half of what I was paying when I was in, I go to Fargo and it's like, wow, I didn't realize food was this expensive. But it really, there is cost increases. Things have to change. But maybe just address some of that, because I know some folks have chimed in and said, hey, why are things a little bit more expensive now?
Absolutely.
But they're getting great food. They're getting this really unique dining experience. Just for viewers out there this morning that may be saying, hey, that's something I've had on my mind. Do you mind answering that question?
Absolutely. And we have no secrets. Anybody asks me, first of all recipes are shared. You can go to the website, cafetexan.org. I've only had a half a cup of coffee. Cafetexan.org. You can email me. There's a link on there to get a hold of me, and I'll share any of my recipes. So everything we use is the top quality ingredients. It's cage-free jumbo eggs, and we don't use liquid eggs. We crack all of our eggs fresh and blend them with extra egg yolks. That's why it's a little richer, or...
Let me stop you on this real quick, because I know exactly what you're talking about. And I'm not in the food business, but my brother worked at a place that had a golden arch for quite some time back in high school, and I didn't realize, I think growing up, hey, I'm just going to crack some eggs, and that's scrambled eggs. You mentioned the word liquid egg, and I learned how many places use literally egg that is liquid, that comes in gallon buckets that they pour. You guys don't do that. This is the real deal.
Everyone uses liquid eggs. Yeah, we don't. Right. I just use shell eggs. Mm-hmm. So we use shell eggs, fresh potatoes for our haystacks. We do little hash brown casseroles. Besides the fact that you're sitting in real leather chairs that came from Italy, you're eating off of china that came from Germany. It's beautiful. It's just beautiful furnishings, but we wanted the food to match. You can't put an IHOP in there when you're doing all those extras. So everything from our biscuits are gigantic. People love these biscuits. That was something that actually I thought we would roll out fresh biscuits every morning. This is something that we just buy dough and bake them, but I can't make those biscuits better than I can get them like that. So we do make our gravies fresh. We don't use instant grits. And, we'll never be everything to everybody. We have a lot of guests come in and ask, oh, you can't believe you don't have oatmeal. We'll believe it, because we don't have oatmeal. So, but they do have oatmeal other places. I'm not trying to be a Greek diner. I'm not trying to be everything to everybody. So we want to offer a quality product with great service for what we do have. So chicken fried steaks are, it's a fresh whole muscle product. Some people are like, well, it's a little tough. Actually, I just switched the product. I got another product that's even bigger and better, but it's whole muscle. You know, it's beef. You're not getting chopped and formed chicken nugget style chicken fried steak. And a lot of folks use that because it's fork tender, but it's just not the same. It's not a high quality product. There's all these starches and chemicals in it. We don't do any of that. We just take the beef and soak it in buttermilk and bread it and fry it. So it's the best of the best. So everything we do, from fresh vegetables to our salmon, is flown in a couple times a week. It's Scottish salmon that's wild caught, and I mean, it's $20 for a salmon salad, but it's fresh baby arugula, it's fresh salmon, and we try to take pride in all of our ingredients.
And that really isn't that bad compared to, you know, when there was a place in Fargo that we ate at, and of course they're in the center of the nation, if you will, as far as that goes, and they don't have an ocean around there, and so when we'd eat, I mean, it was $30-$40 a plate just to get something like what you were talking about. Again, Tom Mangus joining us this morning. He is the executive chef at Café Texan. Such a privilege and an honor to have you here this morning. Lexi was chiming in earlier. She was the one that asked about the food prices, but she said the food is so good. And she also said the building is beautiful. I am glad that it's open again.
Yeah, and I don't think a lot of people realize that our prices in Huntsville are low for about everything.
Yeah, 100%.
I mean, you go 15 miles down the road, and childcare costs you $200 more a month.
Right.
You
we're
know,
pretty
you go to
blessed
Houston, it's
to
twice
live
as
here.
much. And so the same thing, the Café Texan is not that expensive. And if you had the same venue in Conroe, if Café Texan was in Conroe, they'd be charging $30 for that meal.
Right. Well, and everything's relative. You know, when I was in Washington, D.C., working at a hotel there, one night I had a friend come in. We sat down, had 2 drinks each, and shared a burger and an appetizer, and it was $115. So, and I was like, I don't believe that. And I had been working there. I just didn't ever look at the prices on the menu because that wasn't my part. My part was in the back, and I was floored by the prices. But it is what it is. Here you can stay in a hotel room for $100. There you can't find a hotel room for $500. You know, it's just all relative to where you're at. So, but knowing that, we are sensitive to what we charge. But I ate at almost every place I could think of here in town before we opened, and I checked that out. And I chose to go the route of charging for what we are giving and giving a better product. I didn't want to go these places, can I have extra butter? Sure, it's $1. You know, I want more syrup, it's 50 cents. We're using pure maple syrup. Now I'm blending a little bit because it wasn't sweet enough for some of our guests, so we're putting a little bit of regular syrup in it. But 4 gallons of pure maple syrup is $300. So
it's a little sweet.
Expensive.
Y'all hire Kaye to come in there once a week. She puts her finger in it. Yeah, and it sweetens it
our
up a little
official
bit.
sweetener. That's right.
So.
Well, and I hate to admit this, but I was in a hurry the other day, and I needed to get someplace really fast, and I stopped through McDonald's.
Oh.
And I was, I just got a meal and left, and I was like, that was $11.54 for that. And
You don't really look at it because I went and got Whataburger. I had some kids in town, my nieces, and we got 2 Whataburger meals, and it was almost $30. It's like, wow. But I don't know. It is what it is. It's if you want to have it, you pay for it. You don't go and buy a Cadillac and complain it was expensive. If you didn't want a Cadillac, just don't drive your car. So it is what it is. Everything's relative. So, but we definitely don't want anyone ever leaving and not feeling like they got a great value.
That's great.
What's funny is I like going there and, experiencing the atmosphere and, having a nice sit down and enjoying the meal. And like sometimes that's the only time Rick and I get a chance to really talk without being interrupted. And inevitably, if I don't see you come out or whatever, I'll ask one of the waiters, I'll say, can you send the manager out or the chef out? Sometimes I say Tom, sometimes I don't. And just the look on their face is kind of like, what did I do wrong?
Yeah. Yeah, I have to be the heavy around there sometimes, but it's just the way the business works. But I am just always in it to win it. I really just want it to be right for the guests, for the team, for the town. It needs to be right, and you don't take your eye off the ball if you want it to be right. So it's a constant push.
Yeah, what impressed me was before they opened, they invited us, some people at the chamber and stuff, to come in and critique them.
Oh, we were
I
trying
didn't get invited to that.
to line the menu out.
How much? I didn't get invited to that.
She could have brought you. I don't know
I'm
what
just
happened.
kidding.
No.
But, they sat down, they invited us to come in, and Tom asked, what did we do wrong? What can we improve? What can we do better? And he did not take offense to me saying I would like some salt.
Yeah.
And
No,
I think he
mean,
ordered salt shakers after that.
It's all right. And so, and that was another thing we had to think through, like salt and pepper on the table. I don't know. We grind our pepper fresh every day, and we mix it with kosher salt that we cook with. So we don't want it to be stale. Fresh pepper is 1,000% different than that shaker pepper. God knows how long that's been in there, right? So we do leave the salt on the table, but we have pepper grinders, so we put fresh pepper on all the food.
We found that out Saturday. We asked for pepper.
Yeah, good. So the server should pepper it. If you want it, they leave it with you. So it's your choice. It's a little thing, but it isn't everything about the little things. The devil's in the details, right? So, I've had reviews where someone said I had 3 times too much butter. You're welcome. Don't eat it. I don't know. We're just trying to get things dialed in. So anything we do is really meant to please the guest, to increase the experience.
And I love the mashed potatoes. They look so pretty. You just don't even want to eat them. But there's never any lumps in them.
Just pipe them on the plate.
Takes them home, puts them in a little case, display case.
They'll last a while.
That's the teacher and Miss Kaye coming out. So, well, Tom Mangus joining us. We appreciate your time, just letting us know a little bit more about the culinary side of the cafe. Just unbelievable that we have this gem right here in Huntsville, Texas, that everyone should embrace and be a part of. And if you haven't been there, go by and take a look at it. Kyle Kreiner was chiming in, and this is the value of being on the show, just by the way. He said, I really need to get there. Now I'm starving. So
we can fix that. We can fix that, yeah.
Well, and actually it's not the teacher in Miss Kaye, it's the artist. Because I have a degree in art. It's the artist that appreciates the display and the presentation of everything that is delivered there.
Thank you. We really do try to put out pretty food. So, wow, tongue twister. So, no, all of our food should look, you eat with your eyes first, right? And you want it to smell right, look right, and of course it has to taste right. So,
our friend Santa George, Tom, he said, I can't wait for our fundraiser we're having, the Rays of Hope. And then he says, I'm going to visit the chef. The Café Texan sounds amazing. He's in Conroe.
Oh, good. Come on up.
Come on, Santa. Again, Tom joining us this morning. Before we let you go, you brought some goodies. Show us back a little bit so we can see them on camera here. What did you bring for us?
So in the mornings we bake different pastries. Today I just thought it'd be a nice. I made chocolate chip muffins.
Hold one of these up. The camera. It's this camera right here. Yeah, flip that thing forward.
So
Man, look at this.
Chocolate chunks. Put a little bit of butter on it and a little bit of sugar. They're going to be delicious.
Sounds like a good old East Texas song. A little bit of. What'd you say? Yeah. Wait, a little bit of what? A little bit of butter.
Butter, a little butter. Yeah, a little bit of butter.
A little bit of butter, a little bit of sugar, baby.
Turned it into a country song.
Yeah, buddy. Come on, man.
And these will never leave you. You can't make it a sad country song, so that's good. But we do the biscuits and gravy. We have everything's kind of larger portions. We have the thicker cut bacon. We have a jalapeno bacon people seem to love. Spicy. It's too spicy for me, but different things like that. We make everything from scratch from our pancake mixes down. So anyway, come try it. We'd love to have you in. We do open from 6 to 2 every day, except for Sunday. We open at 9 now. We were open at 10, but it was so busy at 10 that we needed to open earlier. So now we're open at 9
and
on Sunday.
The bacon is the best.
Good.
It
I'm
is
glad
not
you
that
like
thin.
It doesn't break apart bacon, right?
It's-
It's well, that's again. We try to put the best quality stuff out that we can.
This is fresh from the Vance Howard family farms, where he has pigs, cattle,
zebras. Yeah, that's right.
Do people eat zebras?
I hope not.
Good
I don't
Lord,
know.
I hope they don't eat those
Too close to
beautiful
the
creatures.
horse.
Yeah, don't eat the zebras.
Do you know that zebras are each zebra is very unique, and you can tell individual zebras apart by their stripes?
Yeah, they say it's like a fingerprint, right? I've heard that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, each zebra has 32 stripes. By the way, just kidding. Did not know. Just kidding. Spreading false information here on the show this morning.
I know.
That's the media loses credibility when you spread false information. By the way,
I've heard that.
Yeah, we don't want to do
you're
that.
credible?
Yeah, no. So we don't want to do that. Ray Hernandez, president of the chamber, also saying he said those biscuits. He saw those biscuits, man. So those things are good.
Yeah, the sad, depressing thing is you can't have them every day. So
yeah,
you said that they'll never leave you. I know.
Oh, I just meant like leave you heartbroken. Yeah, but
I'm heartbroken because I can't have them every day.
You can come down every day, Kaye. That's fine.
Come on every day.
I got you.
You can be my biscuit, darling, at
Honey,
Café Texan.
We have to up our retirement plan a little bit to afford Café Texan every day.
Well, that's good. Tom, anything, I know that we've talked about a lot, and again, appreciate you so much for being here today. Is there anything else that you'd like to add in? Maybe some things that are on the horizon? Is there anything you could tease us with and let us know kind of what's in the pipeline or something you missed that we haven't talked about?
And, if you ever come by and have lunch or breakfast or brunch with us, if there's something you'd like to have, let us know. I love new ideas. There's things that, like our broccoli raisin salad, I love that. We sold almost none of it for the first few weeks, but as guests have it, they really like it, and so they're having it. But we will change our menu about 20 to 30% of the menu quarterly. So we'll be very seasonal, whether we bring in a pumpkin pancake for the fall or something of that nature. It'll be coming and constantly, again, changing the menu. But there'll be more wholesale changes quarterly. And then coming in the near future is dinner. So a lot of guests ask, that's probably the second most popular question, where are you from? Second question is, when are you going to have dinner? So Huntsville loves their food, a lot of foodies, which is great for me. I love that too. And so we will have probably a 4 to 9 window. We're looking at doing Thursdays and Fridays to start, and we may add a Saturday.
Awesome.
So in the very near future. And it'll be a fairly limited menu because I do have limited space, but it'll be some great food, things like double Duroc pork chops with fennel and apple, pan reduction, that's on the menu. Definitely have some fresh seafood. Oh, gosh, and we'll do steaks. So, it's the Café Texan. We should have beef, right?
Yeah.
Steaks.
Beef, steaks, come on with it.
It's what's for dinner.
We always say, get on down there and get the rest of it at the Café Texan. One thing that I did notice, Tom is all in. I love what you're wearing today, the chef vest. What do you call it? What do you call these? The
chef coat.
The chef coat. Check out the collar. Can you turn to the side a little bit there, the other side, and then check this out. I'm going to zoom in here. State of Texas flag. Turn a little bit more to the left. Check that out. State of Texas flag on the left collar. I love that, man. I'm being serious. I love that.
I do too.
You guys are all in.
I've worked a lot of places. I've had a lot of bosses, mostly not bosses you'd want to have. But Vance, I told him there's a few things that are important to me, and I've always wanted chef coats with flags on them. So it was something he said, get it. Have fun with it. Every time I see him, are you having fun? Whether I am or not, I'm honest. But sometimes it's a yes, sometimes it's a not so much. But he does care about not only the quality of what we're doing, but his people. He's a great guy.
That's great. Giving a lot back to the community, and we appreciate Vance, and we appreciate Tom Mangus doing great work with the Café Texan.
Thank you.
Carolyn chimed in earlier. Carolyn Gibson, appreciate you. Maybe a first-time watcher, Carolyn. I appreciate that. I haven't seen you chime in before. She said, I came here 47 years ago, 1976, as a single parent to direct the hospital laboratory. Wow. It was the bicentennial. I cannot talk today. The bicentennial. The Texan opened April the 5th, 1936. One day after Rick was born, and the rest is history. I love the Café Texan.
Oh, wow. That's so nice.
That's great.
Thank you. Yeah.
And thank you for giving Rick Boehning his new name. Whenever you talked about, being in the nightclub business, Rick Lexus, there we are.
That's right.
Yeah.
Stage name.
Rick Lexus. Come on down. Tom, appreciate it again. And Kaye, thank you for setting up this. Did you have any other questions for Tom before we politely say good day? And I know you got a lot to do today.
It's always a full day.
I'll be in again soon.
All right.
Great. We look forward to seeing you, and anybody that comes in, please say hi. Sometimes I'm jammed up in the back a little, but I always love coming out to talk. So
Yeah,
Well,
we
hey-
had some guests Saturday and from Kansas and brought them in. What?
Paul
And
Armstrong.
Apollo was there. But we had a lovely breakfast, had nice time together. They loved the museum. And then we walked around the square and shopped.
Beautiful.
awesome.
Tom, the key word today?
Texan.
Texan,
That's right.
in honor of Café Texan. It's going to be today, actually, through 8 o'clock on Friday. We're giving away some passes to the Color Bar Tanning Salon, but you have also donated today. What'd you give for us?
$25 gift card to come down and dine with us.
So $25 gift card. All you got to do, text in the keyword right now. Almost said right now because I had cats on my mind earlier too. The Huntsville Cat Society. We need to get them on, talk cats. But
And speaking of that, so our first charity, I have the window gels being made. It should be done in the next couple of days, but is the Rita B. Huff
love it.
Humane Society. That'll be our first charity, and we'll have a charity every month that we donate a big check to. So that's our first. So if you ever want to know who that month is for, if you want to dine with us because of that charity, it will be posted in the windows moving forward.
That's great. If you could send that information, we'll talk about it on our show so we
Sure.
can encourage to drive people over there for you.
Love
so
it.
We'd love that. So again, keyword this week, Texan. Text in that keyword along with your name so we know who it is to 936-339-0139. Again, Texan with your name, 936-339-0139. Ray Hernandez, you are texting me on my cell phone. You got to text the 936-339-0139 number because if they come in on my cell phone, that don't count. But Tom, thank you, my friend.
Yes, thank you.
Good to see you.
My pleasure.
Good to see you.
We'll keep up with them.
too.
And there we
Thank
go.
you.
See this? This is Huntsville. It's all about hugging in Huntsville, Texas. So we'll step aside. We'll take a break. We've still got some more to go before we wrap it up. Stay with us. This is your show, Huntsville, as always. It's Good Morning Huntsville. We'll be back here in just a few moments. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, Rick. How are you?
I'm Rick Lexus right now.
Can you sing
Oh,
back?
wait.
Can you sing back to me though? Ready? I'm gonna sing. You remember the game when you were a kid? A child. Well, you're a kid. At that point, before you're a child, and you have a piece of paper and you draw something, and then the next you pass it on, and then someone else adds to it, and then you pass it on. Before long, you have no idea what that. You know what I'm saying? Like the drawing turns into something. You never did that as a child? Did you ever do that?
Do you not remember how old I am? All we had was dirt and rocks. We didn't have
Kind
any
of sounds
paper.
like the telephone game, though.
We're really going to have to do this on the show live today. This is unbelievable. Look, Sam, he's lost his cane.
Oh, my.
He fell, and the Sam statue actually lost his cane and his base. Fell over, poor guy, but did not break anything except his cane. So
It's a younger Sam.
yeah, it's a younger Sam. It's a younger Sam. Here we go. We're going to do this just live on the show here. See, I'll start with something. This is how it goes. We're going to have to move our helmet here. We're just having a little field trip today here on the show. Kaye is like, what are you doing, Rob? Well, good morning. Welcome in. See, I'll draw something like this, and then you add to it. And then before long, this is the artist of Kaye coming out. And you can only do one line. You can't get carried away. You can pick up and do two or three. But,
One line.
All right, Rick, now you add to it. All right, let's say you can go ahead and add 2 lines. So I'm going to do this and this and this and this. Now I've created like a rat that has sunglasses with birds in his eyes. See that? Isn't that cool how you can do that? So there you go. So that's our thing today. We drew my brother and I used to draw. This is actually called skate rat, by the way, skate rat. There you go. Go to the next camera there, okay? See? That's what you learn on Good Morning Huntsville sometimes. don't even know why we talk. Oh, that's where I was going with this. I was going to sing a line, and then you add to it. I was going to say, "Good morning, Rick Lexus. How are you?
I'm great, Rob. How are you?
I'm wonderful, Kaye. What are you doing?"
You don't want to hear me sing.
No, we're done. Our viewership just dropped off. My goodness, this show's getting out of hand. 72 episodes in, and it is getting ridiculous.
Singing is about like my cooking.
Singing is like my cooking. Russell Humphrey chiming in this morning saying, "Let's go, Huntsville." Good morning to you.
I like that guy.
Kyle Kreiner, he was saying a great cause. They're talking about Rita B. Huff and Café Texan donating that coming up month. And then also he said, "Rick, you were so creative."
Who said that?
Kyle Kreiner. Kyle
Well,
Kreiner said, "So creative."
Kyle's one of my best friends.
Well, he said, "You're so creative," by the way.
You have friends?
Only one, Kyle.
By the way, final opportunity here. We've got a meeting to go to, so we got to wrap this up. Keyword Texan, along with your name, 936-339-0139. We're giving away Café Texan $25 gift card. How about that? And we're also giving away a pass to the Color Bar Tanning Salon.
You know, I'd pay $25 to win that gift card.
You know what I thought about? Costco sells gift cards. Have you seen this?
Mm-hmm.
Why don't you just go buy a ton of those and then just resell them and just mark them down $1? Then you could make a little bit on them. I wouldn't buy gift cards though.
Would you buy a gift card for me?
I'm not a fan of gift cards that are specific to a particular place. Now, like a restaurant, that's a different story. But if you at Christmas, for instance, just if you're going to get a gift card, just buy the Visa one and let them spend it on what they want, right? Unless it's like for a business that you want to support. But, you know, getting a $25 gift card to Longhorn Steakhouse, I'd rather get $25 cash. What are your thoughts on that, Rick?
I'll be happy to give you $25 cash.
Yeah. Do you want the $25 gift card, or would you rather have $25 cash?
Well, I actually like Longhorn, so I might go there.
Okay. Well, all right, whatever. Don't forget, it's International Retainer Day today. Keep your teeth straight, by the way. I did not use my retainer after I had braces I got braces like 28 years old. And I'll never forget when I was eating brisket and I got brisket in my braces.
A brisket in your
Brisket
brisket?
in my braces, yeah. And I never did wear my retainer. Retainers, they're invented in the early 1900s. How about this? Today's National Hot Dog Day.
Hot dog.
Third Wednesday. It is National Hot Dog Day. Man, and I'm going to tell you what. Does the Sonic here do corn dogs on Halloween at a discount? In Georgetown, they had like quarter or 50-cent corn dogs on Halloween.
Why?
I have no idea, but I just obviously great marketing. I remember it.
Well, I wonder what the connection is.
No idea. I don't know if they have that, but today's National Hot Dog Day. Sonic, if you're the proprietor of Sonic here in Huntsville, why don't you put hot dogs on a showcase today? National Daiquiri Day today.
I'm in.
So we are in National Daiquiri Day today. Well, that'll wrap it up before we go.
One more thing.
Wednesday Wisdom. And we're going to call somebody for that winner, by the way. Wednesday Wisdom, what do you got for us?
So Tom said something very interesting. And he was talking about how his employer paid for him to go do things, go learn things, and how he hated it until a year or so later he realized what a valuable benefit that was. You know, we're never stop learning. I mean, look at the internet. Look at having to get a cell phone. Every day you're learning something new, or you should be learning something new. So if you get the opportunity to learn something new and somebody's willing to pay for it, embrace that and run with it. And then the other thing I wanted to say was in the history. You know, Café Texan has lots of history in it and everything. We need to learn from history and not repeat the mistakes that been made in history. Sometimes we forget what a politician said 6 months ago and go with what the news media is telling us now.
Yeah, true.
And we tend to have that short-term memory. But then also long-term memory, like Rome. You know, Rome didn't get conquered by anybody. Rome imploded on itself because of its policies.
Mm-hmm.
So
there you go. Wednesday Wisdom. Kaye Boehning, tomorrow's Promise Montessori Schools, not with a Z. Do not say it with a Z, or you will be told by Kaye. All right, folks.
Rob, you make me sound so mean.
Here we go. Put on your glasses. Here we go. We're going. Man, this is just not a good look for me, guys.
I can no longer see the screen.
Hey, do y'all have a 2XL polo? A 2XL polo? Because I think it'd be great one day if I wore y'all's polo. Then we could all... well, I don't want to take away from y'all's... what they say up north, swag. Y'all swag.
My swag.
Your swag. We don't want to take that away. Jerica, if you're out there, by the way, from Fargo, we haven't seen you today. We sure do miss you, Jerica. Here we go. We're going to place our call. I got to take these. I cannot see the screen.
Yeah,
but
it's impossible to see that
We're going to go
screen.
ahead and call our winner today. Got to answer to win.
It's me.
Got to answer to win.
Hello.
Hello. Who are we speaking with?
Hello.
Hello. Who is
Carolyn
this?
Gibson.
Miss Gibson, how are you doing today? Good morning.
Well, I'm good. I watch that show every morning. I just don't comment.
Well, it was so. I'm so glad. Carolyn, I had somebody message me the other day and said, we like what you're doing, Rob, but your show's not reaching anybody. And here we are, and we are. I mean, there's 400 to 500 people by the end of the day that watch the show, and you chimed in earlier, and our randomizer picked you. You are our winner today.
Yeah, so now we've got her on the phone to comment.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
so
thank
you didn't comment.
Yes, I love this town. I've been here, like I say, nearly 50 years.
Well, Karen,
yes,
how
came
did
here
you?
with 2 little girls, raised them here, and the rest is history. I married a prison chaplain. He's passed away, but it's my town. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, well, it's so great to have you on. I knew that you were going to be a very sweet lady, and so I said, I'm not even going to joke around with her this morning. Normally, we joke around.
We do.
Last week it was National Nude Day, and Paula Armstrong won, and I said, do you want us, we called ourselves the
I
Three
know,
Dumplings.
Paula. Yeah.
So I said, do you want the Three
Paula.
Dumplings
Yeah.
to show up at your front door and celebrate National Nude Day? She said, absolutely not. I did not want to do that with you, Carolyn. So, but you've been here a long time. You said over 40 years.
Yeah, I have.
What's it
Yes,
been like
I
for you?
know.
What have you loved so much about Huntsville, Carolyn?
I just love the people. I love the people. I love the beauty. I love the history. It's my town. Yeah, I love it. Yeah.
Rick?
yes.
Did Rick have a question?
No.
Oh.
Well, Kay's raising me in this town.
Yeah. Kaye is Rick Boehning, by the way, Carolyn, is the reason that Kaye Boehning is the reason that Rick came to Huntsville. And that's in our intro video, by the way, if you ever hear that. So
That's the reason I'm here.
yeah. Carolyn, I got to ask you this. How did you find out about the show?
It just came up on my phone one day. I mean, right soon after you started, it just happened. I don't know.
It just showed up.
And so that's about the time I get up and have my coffee and my prayer time, and I just listen. Yeah.
Wonderful. Well, we appreciate that so much. And when
Yeah.
you had commented earlier too, and you had made you had said something about being involved. You've been here over 40 years, and then you said that you were directing the hospital laboratory. Can you let us know a little bit? Can you let us know a little bit about that?
I came here to direct the lab at the hospital. Was there 8 years, and then they started the big health service at the prison. And the pediatrician at the time, David Barnhart, his wife, called me. She was instrumental in that, and asked me if I would take the position to direct all the labs for the prison. It tripled my salary as a single parent, and I loved it. So I had a career directing medical laboratories, and the rest is history.
Well, boy, that's great.
So here I am. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, maybe one day we'll have you on speed dial and we'll call you again. We'll schedule it, of course. I'm not going to do it just blindly, but
Okay.
I would love to have you come on and talk a little bit more about the history of Huntsville. If you would ever enjoy doing that, we'd love to have you come in studio and talk to us one morning. Would you be up for that?
Oh, I might do that.
Okay.
Yes.
Now,
Yes.
we don't pay much, but we can pay you in Café Texan biscuits.
Just a handshake.
Yeah,
Or
just-
a hug, and that would do.
A handshake and a hug. Well, Carolyn, thanks so much. I'll get with you a little bit later on today about how to get you these prizes, but you did win a $25 gift card to Café Texan and a pass there to Color Bar Tanning Salon. And so if you don't want to use that, you can pass it on to somebody else. If not, tan away,
do
young
that.
lady.
I'll do it. Thank
All righty.
you.
Well, God bless you. Have a wonderful day.
All right. Thank you. Goodbye.
All right. I just love, this aspect of the show whenever we get to just meet people in our community. And there you go. Carolyn Gibson, been here 47 years. And she said that she'd been watching the show, never commented. And then she commented today and she texted in and she won. So there you go.
Although I really think I should have won.
Yeah, you should have, but you didn't pay me enough, Rick. By the way, earlier, before we go, Tom was talking about the landscaping. I met this gentleman the other day. Cactus Jack is the one who did it. Really nice guy. And Jack Casey, Cactus Jack Designs. He has some really funny stories. I said, I got to get you on the show sometime because he was telling me a story that was just great that would be a perfect fit for our show. So we'll see if we can make that happen. About to wrap up and go here. Any final comments, Kaye and Rick Boehning, tomorrow's Promise Montessori Schools?
No, you'll have a guest next week. We'll be in Denver, Colorado.
Okay. Denver, Colorado.
I'll be with her.
Y'all bringing back some of that Colorado stuff that's legal? Some hash
did that
pens?
once.
Y'all bringing back some hash pens?
We stopped in this little gas station, and
You bought the gummies?
I found something, and I brought it back. And so I would kind of go up to a couple of employees and stuff and say, "Hey, I brought back a little pot from Colorado." And the expression on everybody's face, it was priceless, the different people. I said, and then I showed them the little bitty
It's a flower
ceramic flower pot. And it had a little bicycle tag that said "little pot." The expressions and it was priceless. I had so much fun with that for a few weeks until word got around that what I was doing.
I've learned on this show today, above anything, of course, we always want to lift up and encourage, and we hope we've done that today for you, Huntsville, but also not what to call your significant other. Pumpkin pancake, probably not a good name to call your significant other. Tom was talking about pumpkin pancakes, and I started thinking, well, sometimes I say pumpkin, but don't ever call your significant other pumpkin pancake, and now don't ever call them little pot either. How you doing, little pot?
I call her Princess most of the time.
Yeah, well, you know what to do. Rick Boehning is a role model man for all men in Huntsville, Texas.
Rick Alexis
Coming down. That'll wrap it up. Been a fun one here today. Always enjoy this, guys. Thank you all for being on, and we appreciate you. Tomorrow's promise.info for more information. Listen, they are booking up quick. They're always booked up. They always get full, and so if you're looking for an excellent child care facility, an education center, this isn't just a place that you bring your children and drop them off. They are going to come. They are going to learn. They are going to be inspired. They are going to grow. They are going to reach, and I believe this because Braylon was there, and she is a talking, walking machine. Tomorrow's Promise will take care of them. Tomorrow's Promise.info. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, and we didn't even talk about the partnership with Responsive Ed where if you qualify, you get free pre-K.
That's right. And how
So-
can folks find out about that?
Just call the school.
At
So at 435-0303.
435-0303. And we're going to make up a song for that, 435-0303. That's
Or 439-0303.
Oh, did I get it wrong?
No.
439?
There's two.
Two numbers. We just messed up the song. Hope you remember. God bless you guys. Thank y'all for being here.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Rick Alexis, Kaye Boehning. It's good to have y'all in today. Let's go fly a jet with these glasses.
I think we should.
All right, friends, that'll wrap it up here. We do have to end the show on a good note. That'll do it here. All is good at the Walls unit. And we hope that you all have a wonderful and blessed day. As we end every single show, I want to remind you today, friends, that we're not strong enough alone to make it on our own. We need each other. Provide a word of encouragement. Lend a hand of support. Somebody out there needs you. We'll be back at it tomorrow morning, bright and early, with our great friend Justin Killingsworth of the Color Bar. So make sure to tune in again tomorrow, 7 a.m. Till then, good morning, Huntsville, and God bless. Everyone have a wonderful day, and we will catch you later, big guy.